I'm Cindy Fisher, and I'm the president of the Aloha Hawaiian Parrot Association here in Honolulu, Hawaii. And ever since I saw the movie, The Wild Parrots of Telegraph Hill, back in 2005, I've wanted to bring Mark Bittner, the star of the movie, here to Hawaii. And now we've got him.
Special today on Seed.
The Wild Parrots of Telegraph Hill is the story of my involvement. I didn't know anything about parrots or birds, had no interest in it until I saw these parrots one day in San Francisco. And I was bewildered, I was fascinated, and very strangely, I just kept getting closer and closer to them. And I started trying to feed them, and they began to trust me, and I got to know every single bird in the flock, gave each one a name. I was taking notes. It took over my life. I wasn't doing anything else for 6 years but this interaction with these flocks. I started getting involved with the parrots around 1993, and then I was developing a reputation. There were little news stories on me, and this documentary filmmaker kept hearing about me from friends. I was doing slideshows. And then in '98, she approached me, was curious as to whether I'd be interested to do a documentary film, and I said sure. So we started in September of that year, and '99 we did a lot of heavy shooting, more in 2000, and then she got it out in 2004.
How long have you owned these?
Oh, I don't own any of them, actually. They're all wild.
Another one over there.
Do they ever go into your house?
I take the sick ones into the house, but they won't go in.
The movies had a real impact. For one thing, it brings a lot of tourists to San Francisco wanting to see the flock, but I used to get a lot of emails, people telling me stories about their experiences seeing the film. And this one guy, he didn't know anything about parrots, but he was intrigued by the movie, and he found out that there was a flock of parrots in his town, this is in the state of Washington, that the state wanted to destroy. And he got active trying to stop this, and he eventually got so active that he became a member of the city council of the town that he is in.
When it gets dark, you know, I turn on the light. Put on my shades when the sun's too bright.
The film actually details my last year with the flock, and whereas my book's about the full 6-year experience, the film focuses on that last year, and the filmmaker and I fell in love in an on-set romance, and then now we got married.
And Mark and I became a pair.
You know, it's not like I'm completely in favor of releasing non-natives into the environment. I'm not. But at the same time, you have to be compassionate. They are living creatures. The problem is never nature. The problem is always human beings. A lot of the biologists who run these programs are not really very compassionate about the animals. They just see them as trouble, pests. And we're the pests. And I wish that they would be more sensitive to what is really going on. So I wrote a book that has the same name as the documentary film. Actually, the book came first. And I'd always wanted to be a writer when I was younger, but I didn't really have anything to write about, I thought. And then finally, this experience with the flock, I had all of these stories to tell. And it was impossible not to write the book. And it did very well. My experience with the flock, which I at first thought was a diversion, actually became the door that I stepped through that changed everything. I went from being homeless to a homeowner, I was doing odd jobs, now I'm a writer. I was living alone, now I'm married. And all of this is because of the flock. The most common question I get about the film is, are you and Judy still together? And it's like it gives people hope if we're still a couple. Because so many people are, sour on the possibilities of love these days. And we were so different from one another. I think that's what people are perceiving. And it's such a nice love story. And did it work out? And we've been together 12 years now. And it's worked out very well. I've been involved with these birds for 5.5 years now. And I want to present the case of just leaving them alone. I don't think really anything needs to be done. They're wild birds.
Any questions for Mr. Bittner?
So this is a female eclectus. This is a sun conure, and the flock in San Francisco is another kind of conure, but conures are South American parrots with long tails. That's what distinguishes them from what we call parrots has a short tail. Conures are parakeets. Parakeets are simply parrots with long tails. That gets confused a lot. What we call a parakeet is actually a budgerigar, or a budgie. This is a yellow-headed Amazon, and there are apparently wild Amazon flocks like this here in Hawaii. Amazons are the most common feral, if you want to use that word, species out in the wild in California. Like, there's a flock of like 3,000 or 4,000 in Southern California, this one species, red-crowned. Okay, this is a blue-crowned conure, and most of the flock in San Francisco is cherry-headed conure, but one of the main stars of the film, so to speak, is this species, a blue-crown. His story is really important to the thread in the film.
We think the movie, The Wild Parrots of Telegraph Hill, is important because it taught us some common sense about parrots in the wild. They're not to be fed, they're not to be captured as pets, they're to be admired and respected. We are concerned about the conservation of the wild parrot flocks that we have in Hawaii. Here in Honolulu, we know that there are wild flocks of Amazons, cockatoos, and ringnecks. There may be others. And we're concerned that there may be eradication efforts in progress. If you're concerned, we want to hear from you. Please go to our website at alohahawaiianparrot.com.